Hi, everybody. How are you doing? This is Jeanette from Bourgeois Sewing and Crafts. I see that we have a lot of people already watching and stuff. One of the things that I wanted to talk about this embroidery happy hour was talk about things that you should think about when you want to take that step and purchase an embroidery machine, whether it be a multi-needle or a flatbed machine. Okay. So, as you guys know, I already own one single needle machine, which is the SC 1900. That is actually the first embroidery machine that I have owned. And I have two multi needle machines, which is the 6 needle machine from Brother, and I also have the 10 needle machine from Brother. So I see we have people already are joining in. And what I want you guys to do is ask as many questions as you possibly can, that you want answered. Just put them over in the chat room, and I will try my best to try to, answer any questions that you have. Okay. So I'm gonna go down the 12 things that I thought about. All right. So as I'm just gonna get ahead and jump in because sometimes I get a little wordy. And I want to try to just make sure that you guys get the information. And then if we have time close to 9 o'clock, then you can have some little chit chat and stuff. Okay. So, anyway, all right. 12 things. Okay. There's 12 things that I have been thinking about. Now, like I said, I have one single needle machine, which is an SC 1900, and then I have two multi needle machines. Now, I do know that later on in the future, for me personally, I am going to want to add another machine to my collection. I'm still debating on what it is going to be. If it's going to be another Brother machine or maybe another brand. And I don't know how many needles I'm going to be getting for the next machine. So really, I just don't know. I'm just really in the beginning of the stages. But one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video is because some of you folks have reached out to me and say, hey, Jeanette, like what multi-needle machine should I get, or what embroidery machine do you recommend? What do you use? What's the best brand? So I just want to give you guys my honest opinion about the whole thing with embroidery and, machines, multi-needle and flatbeds. Okay. Now, first of all, I'm not particular to any type of brand at all. Okay. I'm not affiliated with any company or anything like that. And everything that I'm going to say is really just my ideas, my opinions. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that you have to agree or disagree. Everyone has their own way in how they want to do things. Okay. And I respect that. And but my whole thing is just me wanting to share how I kind of look at things and how I try to resolve things in my mind. Okay. So one of the things that I was doing was I was writing down 12 things, and I'm going to go down the 12 things. And as I go down the 12 things, I'm going to tell you my frame of thought of why I thought that was important. Okay. And it's things that you should really be thinking about or considering whenever you're going to either buy a single needle machine or a multi needle machine. Okay. Whatever machine you want. Okay. Now, the first thing I thought about was budget. Okay. Money plays a really big factor in this. Okay. First of all, you don't want to go broke getting a embroidery machine. Okay. They can be very, very pricey. Now, you can get an inexpensive one. I don't know how much the flatbed 4x4 machines are going for. I believe they might be going for $600 or $800. I don't know. There have been times when the prices have been jacked up and then they go up and down and stuff. I know the SC 1900, which is the one that I have, is a 5x7 hoop size, and you can use a repositional hoop up to a 5x12, and that one cost me $1,000. But I have seen it priced at almost $1,500. But I think that's when it's hard for you to get one of those machines. And I don't know if people are price gouging or what's going on. But like I said, I've seen the prices going up and going down, right? Now, those are kind of like the low ends, but then you can really start creeping up in price, okay, in the single needles and the multi needles. Okay, I have seen some single needle embroidery machines go up in the 20,000s. Okay, we're talking about the high end flatbed machines that really do come with the big hoops, okay? And I've seen the multi-needle machines in the 20,000s as well that have up to 10 to 20 needles, okay? So you really have to think about how much money you are willing to spend in this item. Now, one of the things that I'm going to tell you is when I bought my first multi-needle machine, and even when I bought my SC 1900, spending $1,000 was not like really like, like, oh, I'm going to spend $1,000 to buy this machine. I'm okay with it. Okay. I did have anxiety about it because I was kind of like, that's a lot of money. Okay. But in time, as I started to use the machine and I started to make things and I started to sell them, the machine actually paid for itself. So, and I'm talking about the SC 1900. And then later on, that I decided to, start get another machine. And I was looking at like the Luminaire and stuff, but those were really pricey because those are like the high end. And I was kind of like, wow, that's a lot of money. And then I looked at the multi needle and I saw, in the store they had the 10 needle, but I knew that they had a 6 needle. So I decided to opt for the 6 needle. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that I went the right route. I know people that have started with a small machine and then from there just jump straight to an industrial. And that's okay. I mean, it depends on you and your comfort level. But like I said, think about your budget. You don't want to go broke in doing this. I mean, to me, it's like, I mean, it just depends. It depends on you and how much you're comfortable to spend. So think about that, okay? And also think about how you're going to pay for it. Sometimes people have the money up front and they're like, okay, I can pay the 15, $20,000 for the machine. And some companies will work with you and they do give you financing options where you can put, no money down and 0% financing for a couple of months, and it makes it more affordable that way. So that was the one thing that, the first thing that I thought about was money. Okay. This can be very pricey. One of the things you want to do is make sure that, you're comfortable with the set amount that you want to spend for this machine. Okay. The second thing that you should be thinking about when you are ready to get a machine, whether it's, and I'm talking multi needle or a single needle, because like I said, they're both quality machines and very pricey. You want to really think about why you want one. Okay. Is it something that you want to do as just a hobby, or is this something that you want to do as a side gig or a full blown business or something like that? So think about the purpose as to why you want one. Okay. Because that's going to really kind of help you decide the type of machine that you're going to need. Okay. Think about if you're going to do a business or even a hobby or a side hustle, whatever, think about the type of products that it is that you want to create with these machines. Do you want to specialize in hats? Like the company Lids that you see in the mall, their whole thing is hats. That's all they do is the hats. So if you're going to do that, then you're going to want to really focus on getting a embroidery machine that really handles hats very well, right? Or if you want to do a little bit of everything, right? You want to do the hats, but you also want to do shirts and you want to do bags. You want to make sure that you have a machine that can handle the type of projects that you want to work on, not just current, but think about your future as well. And also think about the materials that you're going to be using when creating these products, right? Are you going to be working with a lot of leather? All right, because if that's the case, then you're going to want a machine that can really do, good embroidery on leather, on heavy, thick fabrics. So, think about those things. All right. So, it's just something that I just want you guys to think about, because like I said, getting an embroidery machine, even if it's just $1,000 and SC 1900, which is $1,000, that's not pennies. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck. So that's one of the things, reason why I want to do this video. Okay. So the third thing, number three, what else should you be thinking about? Think about your space. Okay. Embroidery machines are not small. Okay. Flatbed and multi-needle. Okay. Because the of course the more inexpensive machines that you get, do require less space, but they still require space. Okay. You got to have a table that you can put on, that you can sew and you can embroider on. If you get a multi needle machine, those are kind of big. Okay. So you're going to need to look around you and see, do you have the room in your facility to be able to host one? Okay. So you want to make sure that, you have the proper space that, that you can put that machine on whenever you decide to bring it home. All right. The fourth thing, which is something that a lot of people don't think about, is you need to think about what's around you and what is going to be around that machine. And what I'm talking about when I mean, right, is embroidery machines are very noisy. Okay. They're not quiet machines. Either whether you have a flatbed, okay, single needle machine, or you have a multi needle, they make noise, they vibrate. Okay. So a lot of times, you can be in your little zone, all right, and you're working on your machine and stuff, but you don't really pay attention to those that are around you, like families, the people that could be in the next room, or if you're in an apartment setting, is the vibration, could it vibrate enough from the ceiling and stuff. So you have to think about that as well. The when you're operating the system, is it going to affect those that are around you on a daily basis? Okay. I know people that has sometimes purchased mats, and they put the mats underneath the multi needle machines. Okay. To keep some of the vibration and the noise down. I also, know that some people, what they'll do is, because they know that there's people around them, they only do embroidery at particular times, okay, because family members are sleeping or something like that, so they don't want to, work on embroidery projects during the day. Or sometimes you could have family members, that are kind of like in the room, because sometimes you may not have the private space. Sometimes what ends up happening is you can end up having your machine, in the living room or in a dining room, or some sort, right? So you just have to think about that. Think about, do you have the proper space, and then think about the things around that space. Is it going to work? Okay, are you going to be able to, work calmly without disturbing others? All right. So that's the thing, that was the fourth thing that, went through my mind, that I know a lot of people really, I have not seen a lot of people talk about. Okay. Now, the another thing that I recommend, and this is number 5, okay, is when you're looking to purchase, right? Make a quick list, handwritten list of all the brands that you know about, or that you've heard about, or have some kind of interest in. Okay. Put down all the names on a list. And what I usually do is, I write down the names on a list, and then I'll also write down what is the function of that particular machine that I saw, that kind of really turned me on, that I like, that I was kind of like, oh, that's nice, that's a really nice feature that machine had. Make a whole list. Okay. And I'm not saying make a list and put one, all right, because then, if then what's the purpose of making a list? What you want to do is, you want to make a list of several brands that you know about, and write down the functions under each brand, what it was that attracted you to that machine. Okay. Was it the look of the machine? Even something as simple. Was it attracted to you? Did it seem easy for you to maneuver on? Did it have, how many needles it had? Was it, did it have a big screen? Did the screen look like it was really easy to read and stuff like that? Just write it all down. Just to write it down, jot it down real quick, of all the functions that you liked. Okay. And then when you're looking at that list, think about what you thought about before. Okay. I want an embroidery machine, but what is the purpose of your embroidery machine? Now, does that purpose that you were thinking about in your head, does it align with any of those functions that you've just listed? in any of those brands. Okay, so it's just something that I just want you guys to think about. Okay, because the whole purpose of me doing this video is this happy hour about this topic is because there are so many different brands and there are so many different functions in embroidery that I want folks to be able to like sit back, think about it, look at it, and analyze all the information that they've collected and make the right decision for them. So that's the whole purpose that of why I'm saying do that. Okay. Now the other thing is the number 6. Okay, because 5 was to make the list of the brands and also to write down what it is that you liked about each of them. On the number 6, what you're going to do is you're going to compare the brands. All right. What I want you to do is say, okay, the function that you found in that brand, okay, brand A, is that function is it available in brand C, D, and and so on. Okay, do they all do the same thing? Okay, once you narrow that down, okay, then what you're going to also do is start looking more deeper at each of these machines, because you want to ask yourself what makes this machine different than the others, and also write down the cost of each machine. Okay, because sometimes you want to know what is your money buying you. Okay, so and the thing is, don't be brand specific, because remember, this is about buying a machine that is going to give you the best function and the best value for your dollar. Okay, that's what this is all about. All right, now number 7 is where you're really going to start getting into it. Okay, and that's when, once you have your chart done and you have your machines A all the way to Z, and you write down the functions that you liked, and then you also have the functions that during research and everything, that you found that each machine has additional with their cost. I want you to call the vendors. I recommend calling the vendors. Talk to them about their machine and do the research about those vendors as well. Is this a new company? How long have they been in the business? Talk to them about the machine. If they can, because sometimes what happens is when you talk to them, you could find out information about that machine that sometimes isn't really available on their website. Their website is just a brochure, but when you're talking to them, it's different. Okay. And then, get more information. Ask them, and ask them tough questions. Ask them and say, I'm looking at these other brands. Can you tell me why your machine is different from these other brands? What sets you apart? Okay. You're interviewing them. That's really what it is. You're interviewing them because you want to know what machine is best for you. Okay. And then when you're talking to them, ask them about embroidering the products that you're interested in embroidering. I want to do hats. I want to do all types of hats. I want to be able to embroider the side of the hat, the back of the hat, the front. Would I be able to embroider the brim of the hat? Puff embroidering. I want to do a lot of puff embroidering. How many hoops does your machine come with? Do you have different styles of hat hoops, or you only have one style? And the style of hat hoop that you have will allow me to embroider in the areas of the hat that I want to embroider on. How does your machine do with thick materials, like leather, stuff like that? Bags and all that stuff. Ask all those questions, okay? I see we have Crawler in here too. Let me try to get that one out here. See, I'm going to remove him. Okay, got it. All right. I just saw that crawl over there. Okay. So contact each of the vendors. Okay. And then the most important thing is when you're talking to the vendor about their machine, ask them about their support. The support is so important. I mean, that is one thing that is really, really big to me, for the simple reason that it's a machine. Okay. No matter what, machines break. They do break. You're going to have problems. Okay. Everything, mostly everything. You hope that you get a box and everything works great. All right. But as time goes on, parts wear off, things break, accidents happen. So you want to make sure that, you're going to be able to continue to work with this machine and get it fixed when you need it. Ask questions about how their support works. How long do certain things take? Um, Ask them questions if I need a part, how much does it cost? Is it part of it? Or is it part of when you buy the machine? I know it's under warranty. How long? What happens when I have the machine after 3 or 4 years? I mean, what kind of support do you offer from there? Do you have local support? Is there, this is where I live, right? So, and if I need someone to come and support me, support my machine, what happens? What do you do in that situation? Do I have to fix my own machine? Do you guys like FaceTime with me? Do you send a technician over? And then if you do, how much is that type of support going to cost me? Okay. So that's something that you really, really need to just call them all up, all the ones that you are interested in, because what you want to do is you want to get a feel. You want to get a feel and understanding of each particular machine that you're looking at. All right. Now, after that, and I did mention number 8 was to research the companies, see how long they've been in business. Okay. Sometimes you'll have a company, and I'm not saying that just because a company just started up yesterday, that doesn't mean that they're any good. Okay. It's just that they just haven't been around that long, and they could have a really great product. But you want to know. Okay. To me, I want to know. All right. Um, you know, and then also number 9 is what I had was once you know what brands of machines you like, in Facebook, they have groups. They have so many groups, okay? Join the groups of those brands and join them and read the post and search for issues, okay, and see if those issues got resolved, right? If with people were complaining their machine broke or something and they needed to get support, do a search and then read the comments of the issue, the post where they say, oh my god, this happened, right? Read the comments and see what people have said. Did they say that these kind of issues happen with them? That way, in a way, you kind of get an idea of some of the challenges that some people may experience with that brand machine. Which I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to see challenges with every machine because it's a machine. Okay, so is there the best embroidery machine out there? No, because this is how I look at it. Okay, buying an embroidery machine, very, very expensive, and it's a personal choice. Okay, it's just like buying a car, right? There's so many cars. The purpose of the car is to get from A to B, right? But some people like a luxury brand. Some people don't mind, getting in a small car. Some people like to, a car that runs on electricity. Some people like the hybrid cars. Some people don't mind paying the gas and they'll get a big truck. So it's a personal choice. Okay, so my whole thing is when you're reading these posts, the whole goal of you reading these posts is so that you can have a thorough understanding of the type of experiences that people have with that brand. That's all it is. Okay, and it's just to give you an idea that these are some issues you may come across. I'm not saying you will, you might. Okay, so it's a good idea to read. All right, so go through all the Facebook groups, read, and if you see that somebody posted an issue and somebody, and everybody commented, but you saw that at the end there was no resolution, reach out to that person and say, hey, I just read your post and I just want to know, was this issue ever resolved? You would be surprised how many times people will come out and they'll let you know upfront what their personal experience was. So, and that's very, very valuable. Okay. Now, there's another reason why I say that this is very valuable as well. Okay. One of the things that I like is that when you're going through the Facebook group and you're talking to some of these people that are sharing their experiences with their machines, these are real customers of this company. Okay. So they actually pay their money to pay for these machines. Well, you can't really know for sure, but my guess is that most of them are. Okay, so you want to be you're getting like referrals. Okay, that's what it is. All right, because of course, when you call the company and you talk to them about the embroidery machine and you say, hey, do you do hats? Do you do jackets? What size hoop? This and that, whatever. You got to remember it's like talking to a salesman. They want you to buy their machine. So of course, they're going to yes you to death and they're going to say, absolutely, we can do this, we can do that, whatever, right? Now, I'm not saying that they're lying, but what I'm saying is you just have to be very conscientious of where the information is coming from, which is why when I say you go to Facebook and you go to these groups, or even, go locally if you know other people that have embroidery machines, talk to them and ask them, hey, I saw you bought that machine. How do you like it? How long have you had it? What kind of, have you like, what projects have you worked on that machine? What have you liked about that machine? What have been the best features that you really love about it? What has been the most challenging that, of issues? You have trouble changing the needles? Um, have your needle threader broken? Was it easy to fix and stuff like that? Get as much information as possible, because what that's going to do is that's going to help you with your decision, okay, with your decision making. And it's really, really important, okay. Now, also, YouTube is another great place for information, okay. Like, you guys watch me for information. So in YouTube, you're going to see a lot of people talk about different machines, the ones that they have, the ones that they use, and stuff like that. They're going to do reviews and all that kind of stuff. Now, the only thing though that I do caution people about is, be kind of careful too with some of the reviews that you watch, because some of these folks actually get paid by the company to talk about their machines, okay? So they can't say anything negative about the machine because they're affiliated with them, right? They have a contract with this company. So this company is providing them machines so they can say good things about them. So, to me, it's like, you just gotta, I'm not saying that they're not being honest, but what I am saying is you gotta, like I said before, remember where the information is coming from. You want, and what you're really looking for is you're looking for someone that's going to honestly tell you the truth about the machine, and be able to not only talk to you about the good, but also the challenges that they've experienced as well. So you just got to be, conscientious of that. So, but it is still great information out there. Okay. It is still really good information. So, don't knock it. It's just, pay attention, listen to what it is that they say, what they like about it. Do know that you probably aren't going to hear anything negative, because they can't say anything negative about it, because, they're under contract and stuff. So, it's just something that you need to really be conscientious of. So, number 11 is kind of like basically what I've already, sorry, Mello's behind me. Is one of the things that I was saying was to be careful about the information that you get and where it comes from. That's really the 11th thing. Always, try to go out and talk to people that paid their own money up front for these machines. Okay. They most likely are going to be the ones that are the most honest, in my opinion, and forthcoming, because they have nothing to lose. They spent their hard-earned money on the machine, and they're probably going to be truthful and tell you the good and the bad. Okay. If I I have two brothers. I paid my own money for these two machines and the Brother SC1900. um I can tell you the good and the bad of both these machines. I will say, they are faster than the SC1900, but they do only go 1,000 stitches per minute. I sometimes wish it went a little faster. The needle threader to me is very, well, a lot of times it was my fault because I'm like rushing and I kind of like pulled on it, and I already know how to fix the needle threader. So I think because I know how to fix it myself, sometimes I'm not as careful as I'm supposed to be. Because it's like if I break it, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, and I know how to take the machine out part and fix it, which is not good anyway. So anyway, but I do like it. I have the 6 needle and the 10 needle. My favorite really is the 10 needle because of the scanning capability, honestly. So it's like, but to me, I just feel like when you talk to somebody that actually spent their money on it, then it's like it's you get more honest opinion. Okay. Another thing is that number 12, which to me, I know is going to be really, really hard to do, especially with some of these machines, is pay a visit to them, okay, if you can. Sometimes if you talk to the vendor, they may be able to, say, okay, we do have several customers that you might be able to talk to about the machines, and then if you talk to them, ask them if you can see it, if you can see it in action. I know they have some craft shows, and then in some craft shows they have the machines there live. That to me would be the perfect opportunity for you to look at the different embroidery machines right there in front of you, see them in action. And if I was to go to one of those, I would be there with a notebook with a bunch of questions, with my list of all the brands and all the different functions that they have and everything, and even notes from the conversation that when I called them. And I would even ask them, can you show me how this machine does this, that, whatever, so I can see the machine in action, and I can actually touch it, feel it. It's like right in front of me. Because I'm just like the type of person that I don't like to buy things blindly, especially if it's a lot of money. Okay. I mean, if we're talking about something that's maybe like, under $100 or whatever, I'll buy it on the internet. You're kind of buying it blindly, whatever. But when we're talking about like a something where it's a thousands and thousands of dollars, and something that is going to, I have to use for a very, very long time. To me, it's very important to take that time to do the proper research, and to actually take the time to go visit and see that machine if possible. Okay. And another thing too, this is another thing you can try. Sometimes on Facebook Marketplace, people are looking to get rid of their embroidery machines, right? So if you are interested in buying one, reach out to one of them, and that are trying to sell, and say, hey, can do you mind if I visit? Because I'm interested in buying, but I want to see it, um and you could just go and you can see it work, and if it's something that you like. Now the only downside though that I would say to that is, when you are buying something off of Facebook Marketplace, chances are you're not really getting the latest model, unless it's someone that just had purchased the machine and they thought this was something that they were going to do. Because I've seen some people put their brother multi-needle machines out there, and even the single needles as well, and put them up for sale. But I saw it was like the PR1050, and I know the latest model is the PR1055. But still, I know a lot of people that have the 1050 and they're very happy with it. So it doesn't hurt to go out and just look at it. Take a look at it, see it in action and stuff like that, and that kind of will help you with your decision a little bit too. The other thing also is, a lot of times people get stuck with these multi-needle machines, right? They're like, oh, I want a multi-needle, I want a multi-needle, I want a multi-needle. Okay. Don't discard the flatbeds. Okay, because like I said, it depends on what it is that you want to do. All right. There are a lot of these embroidery files that are in the hoop projects, right? And you can, so people love making them. I didn't have a good experience making it, okay? Because when I printed out the directions, like 17 pages and stuff like that, it didn't come out right. But anyway, but I know that it's just me. I have to keep going at it, and I know I could do it. But sometimes flatbed single needle machines are really good. Okay. If you look at the high end ones, they have very big hoops, and you can still do shirts, you can still do sweatshirts, you can still do jackets. The only thing is that it's just a flat bed. Okay, that's really the only thing. So so I don't know. The only thing that I could really think of that maybe you would be limited is in some bag projects, maybe. But if you take out the seams and you laid it flat, you could be okay. I like to embroider laptop cases. Those I don't think you would be able to do on the flatbed unless you actually making the laptop case from scratch. And some people like to do that, you know. So, don't discard the single needle machines. And I gotta tell you, single needle machines are very valuable, okay? And they get very pricey. They are just as pricey as the multi-needle machines. And there's a market out there for that. So believe me, I mean, a lot of people are, these companies are not making these $20,000 flatbed embroidery machines and not selling them. Okay, people are buying them because there is a purpose for them, there is a use for them. So a lot of people like them for the in the hoop projects, and for jackets, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, and they are gorgeous machines. I've seen them because I'm going to be honest. From the SC 1900, I wanted to get I think it was a luminaire or something like that, and when I went to go look at that, oh, the price of that machine, I was like, okay. So I could have got two of the six needle machines, So it was high. It was really, really high. But the hoop was just as big and everything. So I was just like, okay, and but I had the space for a multi-needle. So I think, for me personally, I was like, okay, let me just do the multi-needle and stuff. But I'm just saying there's a lot of options out there and stuff. So that is the 12 things that I wanted to tell you guys. And I did pretty good timing because look, it's 8:36. So one of the things that I'm going to do right now is always like I love to do. I'm going to go down the chat room right now because I want to answer any questions that you guys have. And also greet you guys and stuff. And Needlepoint, hey, thank you. Needlepoint, you sent me an email, and I read the email, and it has some attachments. And I couldn't open the attachments at the time that I read the email. So I'm glad that you're on and stuff. But if you could please, 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 please resend that, because I know it was some information that you wanted me to read, and I wanted to look at that and stuff. But thank you for joining me tonight and stuff. So hi, Needlepoint. And hey, Vana. Hey, Seven Littles. I see Susan. Hey, Renee. Hey, Jeannie. Hey, Tracy. I see Fatima. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Karen. I see Tarisha, Diamond, Tammy. Hey, Robin, Shamika. Hey, Southern. Hey, Vampite. Vampite, I think. Just seems right. I see Joan. Hey, Cracky Puerto Rican. Hey, VG and Linda. Hey, Miss Max. Hey, Miss Allison. Hey, Miss Banks. Hey, Lena. Hey, this Crafty Patty. Hey, Mary. Okay, let's see. Any questions or comments? Cheryl. Hey, Iris. Everybody saying hi to each other. I see. My first embroidery machine from Trisha. My first embroidery machine was a used Brother Quado 6700D single needle for $1,200. Now we have two Redline 15 needle machines. Yeah, and there's so many different brands out there, and I know Redline is something that Eve from the Baby Booty, she has that multi needle machine as well. And then Liliana uses Happy. I know Harmony has her Melco. The Crafty Puerto Rican got the Racoma. And everybody seems to be happy with them. And this is the other thing too that folks need to realize too. Sometimes you're gonna hear good and bad from each brand. I don't care what brand it is, okay? But you, like I said, you have to really take in the information and try to break it up, because sometimes what happens is people don't understand the machine, and then they get upset, and next thing you know, they're bad mouthing the brand. Meanwhile, it's really not the brand, it's just that the person didn't understand the machine. And like with everything else, it could have been that they got a lemon. I mean, you hear about people buying a car, and then all of a sudden it turned out to a lemon. A lot of sometimes things happen, right? You do get a defective product once in a while. So to me, it's like, don't let that deter you. You know what I'm saying? Unless you somehow find that it's a product that, I mean, you see like 100 people or something like that coming out and say this sucks, then I would say, well, maybe that is a warning sign. You know what I mean? But you have to, like I said, you got to do your research and everything like that, and do your thing, and stuff. Hey, I did the same thing. I got 4 needles to start out. Having multi is harder with troubleshooting too. I bought mine, got it up, had to send it back to service. Troubleshooting is way harder. Yeah, Tracy, and it's true. Like, let's talk about tension, okay? Like, tension is one thing, okay? When you have a single needle machine, you're only working on tension on one needle, all right? When you have a multi needle machine, you're talking about tension on all those needles, okay? 6, 10, 50, 20. You got to check the tension on every single needle. And if any of those needles are off, you got to fix that, right? And make up the adjustments and stuff. So it is a multi-needle machine, depending on what it is and stuff. It could be challenging to troubleshoot and stuff. So I totally agree with Tracy on that. Hey, Cheryl, I'm not sure if I want a multi or a single with larger hoops. I don't really mind changing the needle thread. I just want the capability to make larger designs. Cheryl, yes. And yeah, and I totally agree with Cheryl too. You know, um, I like being with the machines. I really do. Even with the multi needle, even though I know that I don't have to do as many thread changes as I used to, I'm still babysitting it. I still like to watch the stitch out. I still like to sit next to it and all that kind of stuff. Me personally, I don't mind changing a color thread either. So it's like I said, it's a personal choice. And depending on what you want to do. Some of these flatbed machines are great. They have the flatbed machines where it's just embroidery, and then they have those that do the embroidery and the sewing, just like the SC 1900. They just come with the bigger hoops. So yeah, I mean, but you just like got to do your research. And the flatbeds, there's a lot of different versions of flatbeds, okay? There's a lot of different versions in the Brother brand, and I'm sure they have other single needle embroidery machines like Baby Lock, I think. But Baby Lock and Brother are kind of the same company. I think they're sister companies. But there are other machines out there that have flatbed. So look, if you're looking at those, use the same concept. Look at each different brand and model that you're looking at. Look at the different sizes, capability, and ask about the repositioning hoops too, because multi-needle machines have repositioning hoops. This machine has the 14. I have the 14 by 14 repositional hoop for my Brother. Okay, so you know ask about that. Just oh, okay, this is as big as I go. Well, what kind of repositional hoops can I use with that? You know what I'm saying? So there's so many other options, which in a way I kind of understand when people come and they send me emails and comments and they go, what do you recommend? And I totally got it. There's so many different options out there that you're gonna, it's hard to decide. I mean, I personally still haven't decided on what my next machine is going to be. Okay. I'm still searching myself. And I'm still, trying to figure out. Now, I will say, for a while, I was just with the 6 needle machine and I knew I wanted another machine. And I did decide on the Brother. What really got me was that scan. I mean, I love the scan. Love, love, love it. I just love how I can see it on the product and I can move it around. I mean, it's just a big thing to me. So that was important to me. It was worth it. And I was like, I love it. And then I also looked at the support factor, which was great because the guy that does the maintenance on my machines, Justin does all the maintenance on my 6 needle. So to me, it just seemed easier. It's like I already have the guy that does the current maintenance on my current machines right now. So he could do the maintenance on the other machine too. Okay. Now, if I decide to go with another brand, um, you know, is he going to be able to do that? I don't know. I'll have to talk to him and see. He may not, and then that'll be something that I'll have to think about, so, just there's just so much that you have to consider and stuff. And at the end of the day, it's just really about you making the most comfortable decision for yourself. Because like I said, number one is the budget, okay? That you got to know how much money you're willing to spend on this machine, whether it's a flatbed, multi-needle, how big. Now, of course, I want to tell you up front, the bigger the hoop, the more expensive the machine. That is for sure, okay? So it's just something to think about and stuff. So you just wanted to share, let me see. Um, hey Evelyn, how are you? I'm comfortable with my single needle machine. See, and as and this is the thing. The way I look at it too, with like Iris is saying, she's comfortable with it. Not everybody wants the big monster. Not everybody has to have the big monster. Okay. Like me personally, I'm very comfortable where I am now. Okay. These two machines and my SC1900 is fine with the amount of orders that I get. I'm okay with it. I may want a fourth, but that I'm talking later, and maybe later this year, maybe next year, or maybe in 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Or maybe I'll be able to coming out and saying, looking at these babies, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm pretty happy with the way that they're working for me, and my products are coming out and stuff like that. So I'm good. You never know. So like I said, it's you're needing what you want, what you're comfortable with, and stuff. Let's see. Hey Norma, how are you? Hey Kathleen, thank you for your videos. Love them. Checking them in from New Jersey. Oh, Kathleen, I'm so glad you're enjoying the channel. Um, let's see. Hey Donna. Hey Miss Parker. Hey Nancy. Hey Lynette. What's your favorite multi-needle machine and why? All right, Violet. Well, I kind of am very content with my brother. Okay, and like I was saying, I love my brother for the scanning capability. Okay, now I also have the 6 needle machine, which is the SC S SC. I was going to say SC 1900. SC 1900 is a single needle that's over here. Now I love that one because it will always be dear to my heart because it's my very first embroidery machine. And that is where I actually learned how to embroider. So I will always have that machine. Okay. That's like my museum piece. Okay. But I still use it. Okay. And I have my 6 needle machine. And I liked about the 6 needle is the 6 needle doesn't have the scanning capability, but one of the things it has is like it has a little red laser. And if I am using like a small hoop, or I need to make sure that that the needle is not going to hit the edge of a certain hoop, I kind of like that laser. All right. I sometimes wish though that the 10 needle not only had the camera capability, but also had the laser as well. So, brother, if you're watching, hint, hint, that really would have been nice for the simple fact that even though with the scanning capability, you can see it. But if your design is too close to the edges, you don't want your needle to hit the edge of your hoop. Okay. So, I like to use Mighty Hoops. Now, Mighty Hoops is not something that is created by these embroidery machines. Mighty Hoop is created by its own company. All right. This is a third party company that's just making products that you can use with these machines, all right? But they're not like together or whatever. So what I usually do with my Mighty Hoops is I always like to trace. And I like to make sure that when the machine is going around and tracing the design, that it is not going close to the edges of my Mighty Hoop. Because the last thing you want is for your needle to hit the edge of your Mighty Hoop and you break a needle or even possibly damage the machine. So, that hope that answered your question. But the SC 1900, loved it. I think the SC1900 for me was favorite about that was it was very, very easy for me to use. And that is exactly where I learned how to embroider. And it was really, to me, it's really where my love for embroidery grew because I started on tea towels and I just loved it. I just fell in love with it. And the more I embroidered, the better I got. Of course, I had my moments where I wanted to take her and throw her out the window because nesting. The feed dogs went down because I accidentally hit the switch at the back of the machine and didn't know that. So I thought, oh my God, my machine broke. The feed dogs aren't working. So now I can't sew. Had the issues with the tension. I had issues with the nesting. The needles were breaking. Using the wrong bobbin case. I mean, what you can think of, everything that a beginner goes through, I went through with that machine. And it really did teach me well to understand what embroidery was, how to do it correctly. And then when I got to the multi-needle machine, it was very easy to make that transition. So, I kind of like the way I did it. I mean, in a way, a lot of people just go straight for the big monster, but to me, I kind of like that I took the time to do the baby steps because you kind of learn when you start small and then you master it and then you go to that next step and you master it. I enjoyed that process. I really did. Like some people may come on and say, well, you should just have gone straight to the thing. Yeah, but you know what? I enjoyed the process. I really did. So to me, it worked, and it was something that I found really enjoyable. And at the same time, it kind of really helped grow my knowledge. And as you grow, as more I grew my knowledge, that's when I decided, oh, I'm going to share it, because this is really a neat thing to do. And this is really how the channel grew. So hope I answered that. I know I gave you a mouthful. Hey Chase, another question to ask is whether is there a restocking fee if you were to return it? Tracy, that is excellent. Yes, because I wanted to just return mine. And she said it was 20% restocking fee, which was around $900 for me. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But Tracy, thank you so much for pointing that out. That is a very, very good thing to ask, especially the vendors if you're new. If I was to buy your machine, okay, what is your refund policy? What is the longest I can have it before it, and if I say this isn't for me or I can't get this or this isn't, it's not what I thought it was going to be, is there a restocking fee? Would you guys pick it up or do I have to deliver it to the store or am I going to get a full refund and stuff? Excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. Thank you. That I did not even think about that. That did not even go in my mind. I think that's awesome that you pointed that out and stuff. Hey, Cece. Hey, Katie. Sometimes we become too comfortable with a particular brand and don't consider other brands. Iris, correct. And that is true. And that is very, very true, which is why I say make a list. But at the same time, and you're right. At this, but the way I look at it too, think about it when people buy cars too. Okay, sometimes like my dad, if he sees this video, he'll probably be like, God damn, she can't believe she put it out there. Okay, well he's a Volkswagen man. Okay, growing up, there were no other cars that man bought that wasn't a Volkswagen. I remember the Volkswagen buggy. I remember the Passat. I remember the Rabbit. It was all Volkswagen. He's Volkswagen all the way. I think I disappointed him when it came to me to get the car because my first car that I bought was a Saturn. Then from the Saturn, I went to another Saturn, but that Saturn only lasted 6 months because after I had it for a couple, I felt like I was riding around in plastic. It just didn't feel like solid, right? So then from there, I got a Toyota 4Runner. Love the Toyota 4Runner. Drove that all the way to the ground, okay? My husband had to practically rip it out of my hands because I didn't want to get rid of it. But it comes to the point where you have a car for so long that the repairs start to get too costly. So bye 4Runner. now I have a Tesla. Now, I will say this though. I am now where Iris is saying, where you don't want to deal with another brand, okay? Because I actually love my electric car. So it may, I will always look for another Tesla if I have to replace, God forbid I ever have to replace that car, I will get another Tesla. But if I can't get another Tesla, it will be an all electric. I mean, it could be another car, but it's got to be 100% electric. So, but I understand what you're saying about being comfortable. I mean, some people just like the brand and they'll stick with it. But that's why I say do a list of all brands and try not to be brand name specific, okay? Because what it is like these machines, these are not really industrial machines. Even though when you go to the Brother website, they kind of classify them as industrial machines, but they're really kind of like semi industrial machines. Okay, they're great if you have like a small business, and that's really like what I have. I just have an Etsy shop. I have a very, very small business. I do have some clients that will come to me with requests to pump out about 20, 50, or even 100 products. These machines work fine on that. Now, would I be able to take a order of maybe 500 or 1,000 products? Well, I probably could, but I'm going to need time to make them, okay? And, ooh, no, uncomfortable here. I'm going to have time to make them, but it's just because they are a little slower than an industrial. But for what my needs are, and for what my small business needs are right now, they work okay. So but always, that's why I say make that list and do the comparison, and don't just think about what is it that you want right now. Try to kind of like go for the future and think about the future and stuff, and see are those machines that you're going to buy something that's going to really help you to meet your future business goals as well. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's see. I see. Hey, Sassy, a company that is able to provide service, support, and classes will greatly influence the brand which I purchase. Sassy, I totally agree with you too, because one of the things that I would really, if you have a brand that gives classes and all that kind of stuff, that is something that's like, and the thing is too is, Sassy, my thing too, when I'm talking about customer support, is you got to remember, even like when you buy a car, all right? You're always going to be treated great in the beginning. Always. You're always going to be treated great in the beginning, okay? Because you just got the car or you just got the machine, right? How is that company going to treat you after 4 or 5 years of owning the machine? And that's when I mean when you go out and you talk to these people that have these embroidery machines, ask them, did you just buy it? Or have you been using this machine for years? Like for instance, if you guys watch Liliana at Impro Now, she's a big proponent for Happy Machines. She loves her Happy Machines. Now, she's not affiliated with them or anything like that. She bought her Happy Machines. But she has been in the embroidery business for over 25 years. And she swears through all her embroidery machines. She's very, very happy with them, happy with the customer service, everything. So to me, that's the type of people that I want to talk to. I want to talk to people that just not that just got the machine. I mean, I know everything's going to be great in the beginning. It's brand new. Everything's going to be working. You're going to call them. They're going to answer the phone right away and stuff like that. But let's say after 3 years, after, you already paid off the machine and stuff like that, and or the warranty's gone and stuff like that. Do they still take your calls? Do they still help you? I mean, that's the thing you want to think about. And that's why when I say, research these companies and stuff, that's what I know I'm looking for. I want to know, is this a company that is really going to be there? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just my feeling on it. Hey Harvey, how are you? Hey Miss Max. Hey, Walk by Faith. Great tips. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Jeanette. A lot of useful for me. Hey, Nana, you're very welcome. Hey, Karen, can get my YouTube show video. When I purchased each of my, hey, Susan, she said, when I purchased each of my multi-needle machines, I ask all these questions. Look up, looked online for the user manual and read them. That's a very good suggestion. Join Shafik. What's I decide? I didn't think about. Thank you, Susan, for putting that. Susan brought up a that's a very, very good thing. I did not even think of doing that. She said she went online and she read up their user manual. That's a very, very, I did not even think of doing that, Susan. Thank you so much for putting that, because that is really good. Because if you think about it, if you read the manual, right? If you take the time to read the manual, you would actually kind of really learn a lot about that machine, about the functionality and everything. And if you can understand that, and it'll also put you in a better position to ask questions when you talk to the vendor about the machine as well. So I did not even think about that, Susan. Thank you so much for posting that. I appreciate that. And stuff. Hey, Karen. See, I made a list of the parts that wore out quickly, etc. Oh man, she's got great advice. The felt disc under each upper tension disc. There are two per tension disc. The felts run between $2 to $5 a piece. Then I purchased the machine with the extra spare parts. I didn't even think about that. And you know what? You are so true, because my my automatic needle threader stopped working. Like I said, I snagged it, right? And it stopped working. And then what I did was, then the one on the 10 needle stopped working. But when I went to replace the one on the 10 needle, what I did was I bought 6 of those things. Because, like you said, if you know, these are machines. You're as you use them, you're gonna wear out parts of it and stuff like that. And things are gonna break. Things are gonna happen. And I, and that's a very good point, because I did do that, but I did not think about doing the felt or anything else, because I just had the experience right now with the automatic thread feeder. And I replaced that on both of my machines and stuff. Well, I should really correct that. My husband replaced it and stuff. I held the flashlight, but that is a very, very good point, and I thank you so much for putting that. Oh, and then she put more. Then I purchased the machine with extra. Oh, yeah, I read that. Okay. Which ones do you have? Oh, so she's got the Brother PR 650 and a Highland. See, and I've never heard of a Highland embroidery machine. There's just so many different brands out there. I'm telling you guys, there is. Now, a lot of times, sometimes people hear machines that are like very common, right? But a lot of them is because of the marketing, right? They're really going out there and they're marketing their machines. And sometimes you don't hear a lot about some of these brands, and it's not that they aren't any good. It's just that, they're just not marketing that much, and stuff, but they are worth looking into. Like, there is a particular brand that I was looking at, like, I know I think it's called JSK. I have been looking at them, and then there's also, I think it's called a Brandon or Brandon, something like that. Been looking at that one also. But I really don't know when I'm right now. I'm just browsing and asking questions and just doing research myself and everything. So, but yeah. Oh, let me see. I think I scrolled up a little bit too much. Let me see. But um, yeah, Susan, thanks so much for putting that on there. And stuff. Do that. And Nana says she bought her machine off of Marketplace, and that's another thing too, guys. It can get very expensive to buy brand new. If you can get a machine that was like, oh, I'm sorry, Mello, barely used and stuff like that, just buy a machine, ask them if they have proof of servicing, stuff like that, and then you take the machine, take it to a sewing shop, get it serviced and stuff, and you'd be surprised. I mean, I see some people out there selling multi-needle machines they barely used. And I'm gonna be honest, if I had the cash right now, I'd probably be like, oh, let me get one of those, because I mean, why not? But I honestly, I don't have the room right now, and I really don't need it. I think I'm really good with what I have for right now and stuff. So, I would love to have had a luminaire. Robin, I was looking at those. Those things were like, wow. It was very, very expensive, and that's why I was kind of like, okay. But the luminaires are nice and stuff. Oh, Susan inherited a brother quartor that a family tossed the embroidery accessories. Very low stitch out. Yep, lucked out. Found a unit for $60. Cost me about $1,500 to get all the hoops and the software upgrades. That's not bad. And Jeannie got the NQ 1700 and loves it. Hey Ozzy, how are you? How you doing? Investigate for the resale value just in case you want to upgrade or just to sell. Yes. And what's so funny, guys? When I was looking at the 10 needle machine, I was actually thinking about selling my 6 needle and then getting the multi needle, the machine. But what ended up happening was I decided, nope, I'm gonna keep them both. I didn't want to sell the machine. So because the thing is, look at the resale prices too and everything. And the thing is also is when you go on Facebook or Marketplace and stuff, and you see that people have their stuff, if you really think about it, it's like a yard sale, right? So if, like, let's say somebody's selling a machine and they're selling it for a specific price, you can always reach out to them and say, hey, would you consider taking this much for it, if no one else, if you can't find anyone to buy it from you at the price that you're asking for, would you consider that, and just tell them and say, if just know that I'm willing to buy it at a certain price if you don't have anyone that approaches you and tells you that they'll pay what you want and stuff like that. You can do that, and you'd be surprised, because sometimes what it is that people want to, of course, everybody wants to get the best value for their money, right? So they're going to have a machine on Marketplace, and let's say they ask for, oh, I don't know, I'll just throw 12,000, right? I want the machine for 12,000, but and I'm trying to sell it for 12,000. Let's make believe, and then somebody comes to me and emails me and says, hey, I understand you have it listed for 12,000, but I just want to know, would you consider taking 11,000 if someone doesn't? But just know that I'm willing to pay, and if I don't hear from you in like 30 days, I'll just assume that you no longer going to, you either found someone to buy it for 12,000 or you just don't want to sell it at that low. Just put it there. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen, and stuff. So let me see. Okay, let's see what else. Up there. Hey, Linda from West Virginia. And I see a little cartoon up there. I don't know what that means though. Is that a super chat or something? Oh yeah, it is the Crafty Patty. Thank you so much, Crafty Patty. Appreciate that. All I saw was the letter T. I didn't know what that meant. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's let's see what other, because you guys are really coming up with really great advice too. I really appreciate that, because those are things that I did not think about the restocking fee, did not think about the purchasing of extra pieces of items that wear off, and also did not think about go out there and read the user manual, before buying it, so that I did not even think about it. So that's really great, great things to add to the 12 that I mentioned and stuff. Hello from West Virginia. Hey, Marla Lee. You sound like the teacher from Opera Room. I'm a New Yorker. I love my flatbed. Hey, Miss Tisha Banks. I love my flatbed. It's the Destiny 2, and that was 18,000. Wow. But it has 9.5 by 14 hoop, all the bells and whistles, scanner, digitizing program directly on the machine. Yeah, you get what you pay for. I mean, honestly, the more fancier the machine is, the more expensive it is. And as you can see, I mean, Miss Banks said Destiny, look, not 18,000. So that's why I'm saying when it comes to these machines, guys, do not rush your purchase. Please don't, because the last thing you want is like buyer remorse. Think of it as when you're buying your car or you're buying a house, right? You want to look at all the different options out there. You want to see, the functionality and everything, because you're talking about spending a lot of money. And the last thing you want to do is to purchase something because you just did it fly the moment, and then when you get it at home, it's not providing you the functionality that you need. So that's really, really important and stuff. So it's one of the things that I really wanted to stress with you guys tonight, is give you guys ideas that when you're looking at these machines, because all the questions that I get from people, it looks like some people are in the market for them, but I just want them to make the right decision for themselves. You know, um, I had a little verve and got hoop envy and came with a 4x4. Didn't have one that long. Hey, Lynette. And you know what? A lot of people that starts with the small machines, okay, that have the 4x4, they don't have them that long, because they one or two things happen. Either they find out embroidery is not my thing and I just don't like it, right? So they'll just like get rid of the machine. Or they'll say, "Oh, I really like this stuff, but I'm kind of limited to the 4x4." Even though you can have a repositional hoop on a 4x4 too, but I want a bigger machine. And you'll go and you'll invest in a bigger machine. So yeah, so but the way I look at it is, I started with the 5x7, and it's, everybody has their own little journey and stuff. So see. Hey, Carolyn. I learned so much from you. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate it. I'm really glad that you're learning a lot, because that's the whole mission of my channel, is I really want to teach people and stuff like that, and give them confidence and all that and everything. Hey, Tima. Lucy started with a Plagma engine, jumped into the multi a couple of years ago because the cost less than the upper single needles. And you know what, Susan? I ran into the same thing, because, as you can see, Miss Banks paid 18,000 for her Destiny 2. Okay, I mean, I'm telling you, I did look at the bigger hoops for the single needles. I was looking at the Luminaire, but that price, I mean, it was like, whoa. I mean, I was like blown out of my shoes. I was just like, how much? I that was over 20 grand, if I remember correctly. And I was like, oh my God. And then when I turned and I saw the multi needle, this one that I got, which was really just a 6 needle. The whole thing, the multi needle machine itself did not cost 11,000. Okay. I paid 11,000 for the fact that when I got the multi needle machine, which is only the 6, I'm talking about the 6 needle, I purchased it with my fast frames, and I purchased it with the stand. Okay. So, and the hat frame and the hat driver. So I kind of like bought a whole bunch of stuff together with the machine, which is why the price went all the way up to 11,000. But still, I mean, this machine, the multi machine, ended up being cheaper than the Luminaire that I was looking at. Okay. Now I ain't gonna lie to you. I wanted that Luminaire, because I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen one in person, but if you go into a sewing shop and they have it, it's like, wow, it blows your mind. Okay. And then it did not help me that the lady let me try it too, because it's so like butter. I was just like, wow. I mean, it was nice. It was really, really nice. But then I was just like, that price, I was scared, because if you really, remember what I told you when I first bought the SE 1900, I was like already kind of like, oh my God, I spent $1,000. Oh my God, I spent $1,000, because to me, I just look at it as this money coming out of my family's pocket. Okay. So Could you imagine me spending over 20 grand on a machine and then bringing it home? And I was like, good. And it was even the multi needle. And before I bought that, I called Fred from the sewing shop, and then I said, the luminaire was like 20 something thousand. And I said, but they have this multi needle machine, and I kind of like it. And he was like, how much? And I was like, like everything that I wanted would be 11. He was like, go for it. And he had to push me. Okay. He had to actually push me, which he's always pushed me. I mean, even when I bought my very first Louis Vuitton bag, he had to actually push me in there and buy it, because I always told myself, I had, when I first met him, and I know I'm getting off topic and stuff, but just so you can see the relationship, of how I spent. I wanted to get to a certain point in my career, and I always told my husband when I reached that point in my federal career that I was going to treat myself to a Louis Vuitton bag. That's one of the things I always wanted to do, right? Well, I reached that point, but I was still the one that was walking around outside the Louis Vuitton store, and I was pressing my nose against the window, staring at the bag. So my husband was like, "When are you gonna get the bag? Just get the freaking bag." So he actually had to push me in the store and told the lady, "This is the bag she wants, and this is the wallet she wants. Ring it up." And if it wasn't for him, I would have the bag. So you could only imagine. It's like I'm just very like money. I don't like spending money like that. So he had to actually push me, and as he told me, get the machine, just get the machine, it will pay for itself. And I think what really gave me the comfort of getting the machine was when he came out and said, Jeanette, get the machine, it's going to pay for itself. If it doesn't work out, it's not a problem, we can always sell it, it's not a big deal. So when he said that, it was kind of like, okay. So it kind of like gave me less of a guilt. And then I said, all right, fine. Then I went and I bought the machine. And then it does pay for itself. That's the other thing too. That's something that you got to think about, you know. But like I said, it depends on your budget. It depends also what it is that you want to do. If you want to buy a machine so that you can just make stuff for friends and family, you're not really going to be making money off of it. But, you never know. Once in a while, you could ask someone that comes up to you and say, "Hey, can you make a birthday shirt for me, or can you do a wallet for me, or something like that?" And you can make money and making it, with these machines. And these machines have paid for themselves. The SC 1900 has paid for itself like 3 times over. And so did the 6 needle machine and even the 10 needle machine. I mean, I've been doing really, really well. I've been pretty blessed, and so far so good. So yeah, anyway so anyway, let me keep reading here and stuff, because you guys have really come up with some really good stuff. um oh, there you go, Miss Banks. Because I create a lot of in the hoop projects, baby bibs, burp cloths, it's very easy to use, and the screen of the size is the size of an iPad. Yes, and Miss Banks is correct, because I have seen those machines, and that is the one thing that I will say that I really love about the Luminaire and all those machines. When you look at the machines, even though they're a flatbed, they're very big and wide, so they do take a lot of desk space. Okay, but the screen it is like looking at an iPad. It's very, very big, it's colorful, and it really seems to be easy to understand. So they are a lot of money. They really are, but if you were to see it in person, I'm telling you, you would understand why they're big bucks. They really because maybe I'll get a single. I don't know. I don't know, but they are beautiful machines. They really truly are. Um, Let me see what else we got here. Um, let's see. What's wrong, Mellow? Mellow's over here. I love it because I can create a lot of. Oh, okay, I read that one already. Very happy with my brother NS7500Z. You all were right. I the more I listen to you, the more I learn. Oh, Danielle, I'm glad you're enjoying your machine and stuff. Crafty Pet. I definitely appreciate a non-biased embroidery machine owner, because I feel they're more honest and transparent. Yes, and I agree. Because you gotta remember it's like, the salespeople, and stuff. And but then too, you do have people that are brand name specific. So sometimes you just have to, to me, it's like to make the best decision is really to just jot down the brands. Like I said, if you make that list, and you jot down the brands that have grabbed your interest, but you also write down why they grabbed that interest. And then you go ahead and you do more of a deep dive and you see what other functions do those machines have in conjunction to what have interest you. And then you go and you talk to the actual owners and stuff. I feel like you'll get a better perspective of what machine is right for you. um and not all machines are the same, not all of them are the same.